Hello, hello. How are you doing this fine Friday evening? I didn't expect to come on that wide open. I didn't know it was gonna go that big. I thought I would just come in like that. I pray your Friday has been amazing. You got maybe some little house chores done. Mhm. Thank you, God, for being Jehovah Nissi, the God of the banner. You place a hedge of protection in front of me, behind me, and on top of me. You keep me safe by any means necessary. Psalms 91, you place me underneath your mighty wing, and nothing shall by any means harm me. No evil will befall me, neither will any plague come nigh my dwelling. 1,000 may fall at my left hand side, and 10,000 at my right, but it shall not come near me. No weapon formed against me will prosper. It will form. But I have the breakthrough formula from Jesus stove in the room a lot. Why all three? Because God is calling all the wise people to the table. He said, come on and sit down so I can show you how I operate in here. Because he uses the foolish thing to confound the wise. Mm. And we walk in, and instead of fussing about what it looks like, just saying, because God is good. He'll show you how to do something to confuse everybody else. Why? Because if you wise in your own eyes, you won't come to the kingdom like a little kid, like God said. Because we don't know everything. Jehovah Shalom, the God of peace, the peace that passes all understanding. Okay, Philippians 4. Think on these things at a good report. And if I keep my mind stayed on God, guess what? He'll keep me in perfect peace. No, it don't make sense, but it makes faith. Because what I have faith in, I'm going to believe. And what I believe, I'm going to act on. And what I act on, I'm going to see over here in the spirit realm before I see over here in this realm. Because this realm is heavy and dense. And just got so much going on. My inner child is coming out, so we can just go with it today. Jehovah Sabaoth, the God of hosts, you're here, you're there, you're everywhere. You are me, and I am you. You place this small allspark in my heart. God told Jeremiah in Jeremiah 1 and 2, he said, I knew thee before you entered your mother's womb. If he said it for one, he's saying it for all, because God is no respecter of person. What he do for me, he'll do for you. What he do for you, he'll do for me. As long as we're willing to put in the work. Okay. What that mean? That means that we have a covenant with God. Whether we remember it or not, we have a covenant with God. Bring it down. So God placed a small allspark in all of our hearts, right here, before we even got on this earth. Okay, before we went into our mother's womb. The thing is, how you see it is based on how you work it. Like Ephesians 3:20 says, he will do exceedingly abundantly above all you could ask or think, according to how the gift works in you. So according to how you work this love walk while you here on this earth, in this body, is how it's going to be using you. A foot, 3 feet, 6, 100, 1,000 feet. It could be even bigger than that. It's all dependent on how you work the gift. God gave it to you. So what you going to do when you get it? Are you gonna be like the 5 talent man, or you gonna be like the 1 talent man to get everything taken from it? It's your choice. All right. God is good that way. He allows us our own choices. Jehovah Elohim, the God of gods. We made all this stuff to put between us and God. God said, I don't care about that stuff because I gave you the idea for it. But why are you going to go to creation before you come to the creator? That's only that's the only qualm God got. Is we going to go to them before we come to him. And God said, I can give you the word of knowledge, the wisdom that you need. So when you get there, you get a confirmation from them. But if you're not getting a confirmation, God said, back up from that table, get your chair and go somewhere else and dust your feet off of dust the sand off your feet, like he told the disciples, and go to another brook. Because if you're not getting a confirmation after God done told you face to face, we got some problems. There might be Ichabod around there somewhere. I ain't say it, God did. I didn't say it. I'm just saying what God said. Jehovah El Shaddai, the Most High God. Your name is higher than any name that is on this earth or the universe. If it can be congregated in a sentence, and the punctuation can be put at the end of that sentence, God is bigger than that. And then if I think of something, and I try to tell you, it's going to be in a sentence, and it's probably going to be a paragraph with a bunch of punctuation. So guess what? God is higher than that. And remember this, if you see something and God is showing you something, don't sit there and say you don't see it. God is showing it to you for a reason. Jehovah Jireh, my provider. There's nothing that There is no lack, only provision. You're more than enough. You supply all I need. It may not look the way I thought it was going to look, because it usually comes as wisdom first. I'm worthy because I exist, and I exist because I'm worthy. Because I came out of a womb of a woman, that's it. That's my birthright. There's nothing that God will ever withhold from me or you. Okay, just know that. God is my source and not the things on the outside of me. God will use people on this earth to bless me. See, wealth comes from the north, as above, so below. Not from the east, west, and the south. It will always be supplied supernaturally if I believe it. And it's based on my frequency and my energy, which is key. If God is here and I'm over here, God said, come to me as you are. That means I get up, change my perspective, become where God is. The thing is, every time you get up and go to someone, you change your perspective. Make sure it's worth it. Jehovah Rapha, by healer. You heal my mind, my soul, my body, and my spirit. You heal so much of me. Me and God be having conversations all the time. Just nice conversations about simple things. It's the simple things. Jehovah Gamola, the God of the recompense. Ain't no getting even with people and arguing with them. They know what they did, you know what they did, so you don't need those because you what? I told you my inner child was coming out. Just send all that negative energy to the creator and ask the creator to cleanse and purify it, send it back to you so you can send it back to the sender. Cleanse and purify, no blocking their path, no stopping their path, no matter what they done. Why? We got cause and effect, sowing and reaping, and corresponding action, meaning everything is a seed. Whatever you put in the ground, good or bad, is coming up as a tree. I live under the law of assumption that it's already worked out and I don't have to stress about it. Everything doesn't require my response or my fight. I choose my battles properly and I leave it in his hands. Ain't no fussing, ain't no stressing me out, and so it will be, and so to be, and forevermore. You know what? Some things you don't need to stress about. You may get upset at first, but then when you look at the bigger picture, you like, ain't nothing I can do about it. So and that's me. Look in the description below to see a few items just for you. My books incorporate the essence of God. If you want to feel the presence of God, read In the Garden with the Father, Understanding True Intimacy. Let's read this right here. What God is saying. What God is saying. Page 100. Settle yourself. I'll never leave or forsake you. Trust me. I have your best interest in mind. I'll never leave you. Trust me. Trust me. See, that's what I'm talking about. Some good, straight up word from the throne room. Just straight throne room. That ain't come through nobody else. It's just, that's what happens when you get still, you get quiet, you start listening to God. God will start talking back to you. Okay. And then I also have two other books, Befriending the Shadow, Unshakable Peace, Unstoppable Change. Both of those I deem those shadow activity books because it's more than a shadow workbook. Okay, you get a word of knowledge. Then you get an exercise where you get to play around and with the whole theme of that particular chapter. And then the next thing you get is a shadow question that flows with the shadow theme for that chapter. That wasn't so nice because I had to sit up some nights, didn't sleep, and was just writing stuff out to get it out of me. Okay, because that's how you get it out of you when you can't sleep and you need to get something out of you. Just write and talk. And while you write, and if you start talking, just open up your voice memo on your phone so you can have all those ideas. So when you do get it together, you can just listen back to it and write everything down. Okay, God does that for a reason. And then you have that color page. The color pages are going to be between the age of 5 and 10. God asked me to keep it that way because he said most childhood wounded back between the age of 5 and 10. By the age of 7, it is solidified in the body. Okay. By the age of 10, if no one has come to assist you out of that trauma, it is there. By the age of 21 or 25, that is now your responsibility to work through that trauma, baggage, or whatever you have from childhood, because now we are an adult. Okay. And then you get 4 pages. Okay, you get 5 things per book. Okay, 4 pages of sketching, doodling, drawing, putting down your dreams, putting down your visions, writing down what you want, and putting it down so you can manifest what you want and talk to God about it and transmute what no longer needs to be in your life anymore and work it out on your own, and nobody needs to see it because it's you and God having great conversations. Okay. And don't forget about my other 2 books that are already on the New York Times bestseller list. Okay, there we go. Influence and Impact with Chris Voss. And Mindset Matters with Jack Canfield. Okay. Because, see, God don't need no background check. It's us humans that need that. God could care less. Okay, no matter what your background. God said, come on in. God said, come on in the room. He got something for you. He said, come on in. And it's notebooks and journals for all, coloring books for all that help and meditating and recalibrating the mind. You'll see the link of the podcast I completed with the women's leveling up. It was so fun being there. You also see 3 other links of magazines I was in September, October, and December. I placed a link to my own personal bookstore. I'm excited about this venture. Why? Because I'm in charge of my own intellectual property, even though a lot of stuff is on Amazon except my special journals. There are some freebies just for you. I added the link of 105 spiritual laws. There was only 7 in the Kabbalah, but there was 12 in another book. And then I said, wait a minute, God is not the author of confusion. Find out it's 105. Time out. Pause. Disclaimer. Yes, there's 105 spiritual laws. However, we are no longer under the law. If you stay underneath the law, your life can be removed from you, because once you stay underneath the law, that means you are no longer operating through the Godhead, okay? Or Christ consciousness. When Jesus came, he gave us 2 things. He gave us love and grace. Love is the ability to put a boundary between you and whomever, it don't matter, and say, I send nothing but cleansing and purifying energy to you, or I release you in love. Then you get an opportunity to forgive yourself. Where does that come from? That comes from the Lord's Prayer. Jesus broke it down to the disciples. He said, forgive me of my debts as I forgive my debtors. Okay? Forgive me first. I forgive myself first, then I forgive them. Because, see, we like to go to the other person to forgive first, but God said forgive yourself first. Because sometimes it's the hardest thing to do is to forgive yourself, because we hold ourselves up to very stern rules. And God said you don't need to do that. You don't need to take yourself down to the basement and beat yourself up like misery. That is not your job. God said, hold yourself up to the highest regard and put yourself up in the air and hold yourself there, and look, and do not put yourself higher than what you think you should be, but at the same time don't tear yourself down, because you were way better than that, because you are more than a conqueror. You are overcomer through Christ Jesus. Okay, let go. And then not only do you have that in love, but then you have grace, God's willingness to get involved with human affairs. That means you find yourself in a tricky situation, God will reach down there and grab you up just like he did Peter. Okay, and I told God, I gave him free reign. If you like me, I gave God free reign. I said, look, if I'm down here and I can't scream help like Peter, come and get me. God said, say less, I'm gonna do that for you anyway, because I don't put too much in you. Okay, yeah. All right, and just like we have the 10 commandments, we really have 613. And how you find all 613 is you're going to go to the Torah, Tanakh, or the Kamash, okay? And you can get those anywhere Christian books are sold. You really, I say this, when you get the opportunity, please get one of those books. Once you look at that with the Bible, you're like, wait a minute, something's off. Because it's the real, truest version of the Bible, okay? And it's just the Old Testament, not the New Testament, just the Old Testament. Okay. Honey, child. And then, like I said, it's 613 of them. And God told the Israelites, there's no way possible you can keep 613 laws every day for the rest of your life. They said, yes, we can. Us and our children's children. Just like they did when they said, so who you want me to release? Jesus or Barabbas? Release Barabbas. Barabbas out there was a serial killer. They said, release Barabbas and put Jesus up there, but that was prophecy, okay? So they released the serial killer and put in somebody that was innocent. But the thing is, they said the same thing then. Us and our children. Wait a minute, don't put us involved in that. That's your mouth talking. I didn't ask to be involved in this. And that was all the way back in Egypt. So we fix it. So if you are the breaker of the family, that means you are breaking stuff that you don't even have, the stuff you don't know nothing about, because you weren't here during that time. We breaking stuff off that came all the way from the 10th, 12th, 13th, all the way up to these centuries. Okay. We breaking stuff we wouldn't even know about. So sometimes that's why we looking crazy, like, what we doing? And God told them they couldn't do it. They said, yes, we can. So that's how we got involved in this situation. But just because we got involved don't mean we can't shut it down. Because how I say, I ain't no fighter, but don't push me. Because once you pull me in there, that's when I get into the ring and I'm like, whatever. I'm finna pull out every punch. We doing what we gotta do. Okay. Because guess what? We know everything, but we don't know anything. Because if you keep a mind of a child, you don't really know anything. And this keeps us from attachments as we go through each level and lesson. Taught to me by Jesus, Thoth, and Issue. Because if you keep the mindset of a child, that means you don't know everything and now you're teachable. The minute you're unteachable, you might be a Romans 1 person, okay? You think you know everything, but you left out of a lot of stuff because you don't have the mindset of a child. Don't forget the Adjective PDF along with the 400 values PDF for the science project to change your whole character for this Sims game. Okay. Don't forget to sign up for the newsletter for the juicy updates and the upcoming events. Um, I was just inducted into the new class of Who's Who for 2025 and Influential Woman of 2025, bringing up the last quarter of 2025. Honey, say it ain't so, but it is. And look what I received in 2017. I received a Who's Who in 2017 because I was bringing women out of sex trafficking. I was helping young girls on both sides. Young girls that came out to their parents and said they were LGBTQA, AI, and young girls that came out and said they was pregnant. I was putting them in homes, finding a nice place for them to go so they wouldn't be on the street, because where I just came from was sex trafficking, a hub. Okay, you see them and now you don't. And now the parents are like, what happened to my baby? You threw him out here on the street. You figure it out. Okay, that ain't the life. All right. And then I was helping women that was in domestic violence. We lost 2 women. I kept telling them not to go back. There was nothing I could do about it. When they want to go back, the only thing you could do is release them. You can't do anything about it. Um, I was helping people that had lost everything in fires and floods, and I had a storage unit, so I had TVs and beds and clothes and everything in there. They would just come and get what they needed, and I would ask them how many bedrooms you got. They would tell me. I said, that's how much stuff you need to get, because another family is coming in, another family is coming in, another family is coming in, and I would give them little gift cards for like $20 to go ahead and get underoos and stuff like that. From back in the day, the 80s, we called it underoos, but it's underwear. Simple stuff that they were gonna go through the Red Cross and through all the different places, the pantries and everything to get food. But I was trying to make sure they had the basic stuff, and I would give them like little toiletry items for toothbrush, toothpaste, and the females would get fingernail polish and fingernail polish removal. Why? Because even though you lost everything, I've been there. I was homeless before. Even though you lost everything, you still want to feel like still a respected member of the community. So why not have those things? And I'm just glad that God pays attention to the small things you do that nobody else sees. Because God says, whatever you do in private, God will reward you in public. And God is so faithful, and I'm thankful and grateful for it all. Don't forget to look at the link to receive 25% off your first order. This is the company I use along with all natural remedies. In 2017, I was given a diagnosis of breast cancer and said I had 6 months to live. I told him, I said, the devil is like, I'm not finna leave here. The doctor was like, well, it's all over here. And I said, I don't care what you said. I ain't going nowhere. I use that stuff out in the backyard and the stuff. My naturopathic doctor and child, I told that doctor, I said, I bind every disease, every germ, every bacteria, every tumor, every growth, every parasite. Excuse me, confirmation burp, that's trying to be on my body, and I curse it to the root, and I send it back to the pit of hell, and I loose the blood of Jesus, and I loose the hand of God, and I said, and I take full responsibility, because God don't get involved to assist you until you take full responsibility, like AA. Okay, I said, I take full responsibility because I was doing hand to mouth, hand to mouth. That was me. I went and got the food. I bought the food. I did this to myself. I could blame so many other people, but I'm gonna take responsibility. Boom. And they said, what you doing? I said, I'm putting my order in, and left there, went home, talked to God. God said, call that naturopathic doctor. Call the naturopathic doctor. Pull down everything Dr. Sebi ever had on alkaline, showed it to my naturopathic doctor. And they said, wait a minute. I understand that this is alkaline, but because of your blood type, this right here and this right here and this right here turn to acid in your body. That's why I tell you, just because everybody else is doing it, it may not work for your blood type. The best thing I can tell you to do is find out what your blood type is, look at your list for your blood type, okay? And stick with that. Stick with that. No matter what everybody else is saying, stick with that. Because you're going to save your life out here in these streets eating by your blood type. Because it's going to make sure you get all your amino acids, all your vitamins, and it's going to tell you the different vitamins that you need to keep on you. And then when you go through a naturopathic doctor, they put you on this machine that you put your hand on there, and it shows everything that's going on in your body and the vitamins that you need. And honey, they got everything. Or you could just get that scale. I don't know nothing about that scale. I ain't tried it, but I know that naturopathic doctor thing. I know that. And honey, I went out to the backyard and got the stuff that my ancestors said get. They said get that dandelion. They said get that morning glory. That I call it crabgrass, but it's that grass that grows in your backyard, and it's like a real green patch. All your grass is gonna be green, but then it's that wild patch that grows up and it's kind of jig jagged, and it's got that long grass in the middle. But that's what I call the crabgrass because it smells like onions. Because it is, it's wild onions. It's just like the scallions that you cut up that you get at the grocery store. That's what this is. Okay. But it's wild skins, and our ancestors lived off this. Remember they said they lived off the land? They really lived off the land. And then that poke salad, it looked like lettuce and cilantro had a baby together. Child, I put that on top of my spinach, underneath my jasmine rice, so that the jasmine rice was hot and it wilted it, but it still had a crunch, so it went into my system to help me fight. Yes, honey. And then I put that zucchini and that squash, that red onions, red, orange, and yellow bell peppers on the top of that. You weren't telling me, and I went pescatarian, adding some meat in there because my blood type required a little bit of meat. Child, I put that salmon or that tuna steak or that shrimp. I did what was for me. That's what I say. Don't follow everybody because everybody ain't the same blood type. Okay, find out what you are and pay attention to that. Okay, and you might just want to get you a naturopathic doctor. That way you know what's going on because they deal with herbs too. They deal with herbs and they stay in that lane. Okay. Psalms 91, 1 through 6, NLT. Those who live in the shelter of the Most High will find rest in the shadow of the Almighty. Even the shadow of God is amazing. This I declare about the Lord. He alone is my refuge and is my place of safety and he is my God. No shame there, and I trust him, for he will rescue me from every trap and did and still does, and protect me from every deadly disease and did and still does. And he will cover me with his feathers and his shelter me with his mighty wings. He is faithful to all his promises. God's promises are yes and amen every day. So if you ever get a pause, like Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man, let me tell you, God is asking you to become what you ask. So if you like me, you like the law of opulence. God say, daughter, what you want? I say, I want diamonds and pearls. God said, I'm going to give you the diamonds. I'm going to give you the pearls. And every gem that was on that ephod of the Old Testament priest that went into the holies of holies. Okay, I'm going to give you all of that. But every day I need you to take a little step. Even if it's a mental step. Cutting things off in your life. Cutting things off and making steps. Keep going forward. No matter what it's doing. Even if you say, no, not today. All of that is a step. You making a step. I said, okay, say less. And every time I say less, I be looking at God like this. He's my armor and my protection. And remember, God is divine feminine and divine masculine. So if you say her or him, it's okay. Do not be afraid of the terrors of the night, not night terrors, nor the bullets that fly at day. I do not dread a disease that stalks in darkness. Why? Because David told us that David went through the whole process of the dark night of the soul too. You don't go from being a shepherd boy all the way to a king. It took a minute for him to get there, and he had to go through an initiation or a process to become king. Okay. Well, I just can't wait to be king. Come on, Lion King. My darkness. Darkness. That's Psalms 23, and it says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, my rod and staff. Who knew my spine and my shoulder to shoulder was my cross? Jesus said, pick up your cross daily and follow me. It's in the Bible the whole time. That's what I tell you. When you read the Bible, you cannot be so dogmatic that you don't understand that the Bible is a book of magic. It was written that way. That's why you have to look at it totally different. You have to go to it with the mind of a magi, a sage, a shaman. You have to go that way so you can get the juiciness out of the scriptures. Because if you go to it any other way, you can be like, wait a minute, this ain't right, and you're going to shut it down. Where there's so much juiciness in those scriptures if you keep looking. Okay. And then it says, and my cup runneth over. That is infinite wealth in all levels. Okay. Every level you could think of. And then it says, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Okay. And then you go to Isaiah 53, and it says, the Lord will send the angel to go before me to set asunder, to set the crooked places straight. Okay, that means everything that was crooked, the angels set it up. They go before me with their spiritual machetes and shut everything down. A few things that hit me, but they'll make sure not too much hit me. Okay, because it's set up that way. That's how my path is set up. I don't know how your path is set up. And then it says, and God is my real guide. Go back to Psalm 23. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Because God is my real guide, making sure, surely none but goodness and mercy follow me all the days of my life. And then it says, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Yes, because I am the house of the Lord. And I will be dwelling there forever. Because even once I leave this body, me and God will still be attached. Hush your fuss and get on the bus. Neither the disaster that strikes at midday. See, that's why you get a chance to take care of this temple, because this is where God stays. Everybody has God in their heart if you were born of a woman on this earth. Hand over heart for affirmation. I am not society's script. I am my own definition. I am not of this system, but a flame from God. Source, the divine. I don't stress about what I can't physically fix. I let go of that attachment, honey, and I monitor the use of my own energy. Don't be looking over the fence monitoring somebody else's energy. Monitor your own. Pay attention to what's going on in your yard. Are we giving or are we taking? How much are we taking before we give back? Do we see ourselves right now? Do we stop to breathe into the moment and stay connected to self? I'm asking myself this lately. My thoughts and dreams have been quite vivid, lots of information, so I'm slowing down to pay attention to small details. I'm asking God more questions that cause me to pause to ask myself even more stuff. It's about having critical thinking, however, not to be paused in time, but to ask what is that makes me say, oh, I love that. It could be a color, a texture, and what allows me to feel like a little girl again. I'm not caught up in the New Year stuff. It really starts in April when it's in springtime. When it's cold outside, instead of when it's cold outside, just my thoughts. Plus, the Mayan calendar says April 1st is the first day of the new year. That's why they call it April Fool's Day, because they've been playing this for so long. So I'm slowing down while everyone else goes fast into the fray. I'm taking my time to get completely connected instead of following the crowd. It may seem like I'm losing out, but I'm actually connecting to the original flow of my plan. That's why I tell you, don't follow everybody else. Get with God and find out what your plan is. Because they may be a pause and you don't understand it. You may be fighting against the pause. Why fight against the pause? Sit still, because you don't know what's on the other side of this pause. You have no idea. Because if God say pause, that means pause. If God say go, that means go. That means you might not get a break. So it may even cause me to change directions. I don't know. I'm just being honest. I'm just going with God. Who said you had to have stay the same the whole time? What if we miss things rushing through life? Just my thoughts. Why do we feel the need to bring Caucasians in our things to prove that we're right for what we do? Like we say something, they gotta come behind us. Like I noticed that when former President Obama was in office, there was always one Caucasian there, and I was like, what is going on? Why is there always one? Oh, that's right. You know that there's a redeemer here. You don't know if it's him. And the thing is, I'm also talking to the other people, the Asians, the Spanish, and the Latina. You know what I'm saying? Pick up what I'm putting down. They haven't done anything but take from us. hmm It's time to share our ancestral wisdom only with our lineage, not to block others out. It's just we're told not to use our own mysticism so they can use it against us. Do we not see that? It's not always about winning, but about learning more of self and find out who we really are at our own, just learning out who we really are. We're more than what we think. Your frequency is everything, but if you allow too much in your frequency, it drops and gets watered down. If it feels off, it is. It's time to open your eyes, our eyes, to see. The mirror is in front of us, showing you about yourself. So, what is the mirror showing you? Did you know that the Mayans celebrate 7 to 14 years to show the growth? So, and then the Jews took that too. I was paying attention to that. So the Mayans, this is what they did. So when you turn 7, there's a big celebration. Then when you turn 14, there's another big celebration. Okay. Because every 7 years, the body heals itself. That's why you can have your tubes tied, burned, cut, and everything. And have a baby little afterwards, after the 7 years, because your body naturally heals itself. Uh-huh. The body heals to show God made us. Are you giving your body extra oxygen and water? Yeah, they poison it, but what? Our ancestors prayed over everything, so pray over it and keep it moving. Instead of whining about, I'm not trying to be ugly. I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm like, we fuss over everything. Yes, they poison it, but you have so much power in your mouth. Speak over it. I speak over this water right now, and I call it blessed. This water is blessed and highly favored in every vein, every artery, every blood vessel it goes through. I am healed. I think it goes through every inch of my body, and it goes down my esophagus, and it goes into my stomach and my small and large intestines. I thank you that it goes down and it begins to heal my body. I thank you that everything that is wrong, that it goes in and makes it right. My body is the heal, protecting myself from sickness and disease. I am the body of the living God. Because I am the body of the living God and I am that I am. I know every word that I speak comes to pass. So I speak over this water and I say it is so. In Jesus' name, amen. And drink the water and let me done. Others teased us back in the day and we quit doing it. I don't care. I'm going to pray regardless. Did you know that this dude named Cortez burned everything of the Mayans and burned everything down to control everything? Because he didn't want them to go into their temples and their caves, because whenever they went in there, he found out they got stronger. And he burned everything down so they couldn't use it. But he took their books and what you call it? He took their books and then he translated them to use them for themselves. Because he found out that they also had Mason groups like they did in Europe. But what they didn't know is they were the Mayans was of a higher caliber than them. So they burnt all their stuff down and then took their books and then added it to theirs. Stay focused on where you sacrifice things and not for God. Just pay attention about that. Because I had to look at a few things today and I said, ooh, I didn't see that. Thank you. Just look a little deeper. Religion has destroyed so much when the Bible and other texts of higher learning wasn't meant to be a mode of control. That's why when you hear slavery and pay attention to your master, that ain't what God said. God ain't never said that. He ain't called nobody no master. He said you can have two masters, money or God. He never said pay attention to your master. That is a human thing. Okay. So that's why I'm saying when you read the Bible, you get the opportunity to read it with a particular eyesight so you can glean out the magic and take it with you and leave everything else behind. What they say take what you need and leave everything else behind. Eat the meat, throw out the bone. I'm just saying. Some things were added that's not in the original Torah or the Tanakh or the Kamash. Just saying. Once you get it, you know what I'm talking about. Read more than just your text. Get curious to see what really it says Okay. Not the crowd think or the mind control says that it is, according to the group. So everybody believes it for years. The Bible, the Quran, the Hindu text, the Buddha text are all saying the same thing. But you know who's at the helm? There's there's a contamination and control, and pay attention to that. Pay attention. You don't need a mediator. You just get an opportunity to just meet God. I'm not being ugly. Just saying, are just saying, why are they in our mystic and different information unless they're trying to authority it or take over it? I'm just saying, just pay attention. It's for our lineages, not for sale. Judas is always the closest to you. You need a Judas to transform as well. Don't just side eye, but pay attention as well. Because Judas will take you to your promised land because you need your Judas. Symptoms today: needing silence and study time. Things are changing fast in the spirit realm, but they're going slow in this earth realm. Ooh, I saw this today. Check this out. I saw this today, and it was so funny how my spirit team showed it to me. They said, "You see the Rumpelstiltskins?" And I said, "Yeah." They said they're the liars that get you to sign with them to control your soul if you don't pay attention. Look who's around that. Asking myself, where is their control over natural resources? If we get back, if we get back to the Tartarian way of living, or even how Tesla said to have free energy, wouldn't it be nice to pray for have electricity for free, but just pay a nominal fee of $50 to $100 to maintain the structures that operate it for us? Understanding it's one thing to study a thing, but it's different to walk through it. Study is hearsay. Walking through it, you get to experience it and you can know how to turn and pivot. And, because the book says only shows you one side. That's what schooling shows you. Experience shows you a whole nother thing. Noticing people fight what's not comfortable to go against what they were told, but also secretly complain. God said, wipe your feet, pull your blessing back from that pace. Call all your energy back. Seeing nothing but cleansing and purifying energy. No anger, no bitterness. Just allow people to be themselves. And when it gets dark, they'll remember the wisdom that you said. Ephesians 3:1 talks about transmutation. How I know? Bringing stuff out of the thought realm into the living realm. Higher vibration thoughts bring high vibration things, vice versa. What are you thinking? And it's critical. And is it critical being to what you want? Every leader in the Bible went through an initiation to become true leaders. That was taken and placed into certain groups around the world. Greeks, secret societies, aboriginal groups. Old religion, mysticisms used geometry and algebra to work their flow. That's why we're so lost trying to get it. Because most of us didn't even though we took those maths in school, we were just like, all right. That's why most are confused how they understand certain things. Nothing is by mistake. Most Aboriginal lands have been bombed or destroyed to remove the power on that land. It wasn't. Just pay attention to the legend key to communicate with pictures, etc. To communicate. Example: Mexico. They wanted to put up a wall. Isn't that where the Mayans were? Didn't just disappear, but were taken. If you're brown or darker, it's you. Nigeria and Africa, agriculture, rice workers, and keepers of wisdom. Nothing just happens. There's no mistakes. That was a ritual power that was coming from there. Okay, I'm just trying. Listen, if you see what I'm putting down, pick it up. The three Hebrew boys, Daniels and the lions. Den. That was initiation. Egyptians had 10 death halls. The Mayans had 7 realms of change. All of them will becoming a new person, not just getting emblems but actually change it instead of changing the frequency that lowers the flow of man. There are certain parts that keep doing the same things over and over to keep you weary. But that's when you dig deeper. It's to show you things you may have not seen the first time. So sometimes you may need to look at something more than once. David with Saul, with the initiations to get to the next level. Saul kept trying to take David out, and David had to run for his life. Okay. Without transmutation, changing to become who God intended from the beginning, go through the process and understand it's for a purpose. Time isn't linear. It goes in cycles and it goes in spirals. And it happened before this time through learning more. No one is a complete expert on anything. We can give you wisdom, then you get the opportunity to operate in it. Listen to your own intuition as you go. Don't always just listen to others and cut off your own wisdom. There's a reason why I'm telling you that. And there's so many other things too many to write down. But even if I tell you something, listen to your intuition. Your ancestors is talking to you too. Remember that. Don't ever throw out your intuition. Okay, just because somebody telling you something. That's how you set yourself up for failure. Everyone gets the opportunity to do their own work and wake up in their own timing. It's hard when you love folks, but in their own timing, okay? Keep going. They get the opportunity to decide just like you did. I know you care for them, but what are they showing you? Are you really looking with these eyes? Some want to connect only when they feel you growing. Let them go to learn their own lessons. Because you have no idea what their lessons are. When you keep them around, you know what happens? You carrying their stuff. That's not cool. They will hold you down for moving forward. Just let go. It will be okay. God has you and them. Trust that. Everyone must work out their own salvation with fear and trembling. Trust in God. Don't carry someone else's battle. That is Philippians 2 and 12. Save yourself and keep going. Give the wisdom as you keep climbing the ladder. James 1, 19 through 21 NLT. Don't allow anyone to take your power or your energy. Excuse me, confirmation burp. Understand this, my dear brothers and sisters. You must all be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. Human anger does not produce the righteousness God desires. So get rid of the negative thinking and humbly accept the word that God has placed in your heart. I don't know what God placed in your hearts. I only know what He placed in mine. Okay. For it has a power to save your souls. And it does. It has a power to save your souls. What did God tell you? Hold on to that. Verses like the Quran 17:53 and 4:148 highlight the importance of speaking kindly and avoiding slander and speaking the truth. 2:254 states, this verse emphasizes that it's not for creation that is under Allah to question Allah, which Allah knows better because He sits higher. It requires the believers to surrender to Allah, which is a message of faith and surrender to divine authority. That's the same thing we're doing to God. There's no difference. It's just the system got us fighting each other because we don't know that because ain't nobody opened the book. But they say, if you want to hide some in the book, if you want to hide something, put it in the book because ain't nobody going to read it. Everybody reading Clef Notes instead of reading. Do you know who we really are? It's time that we get into our studies, whatever we're in, pray, meditate, and find out who we really are. Be so secure when things come to steal our joy, we bounce back quicker. Okay, what used to take 6 days is now taking 60 seconds, child. Sometimes 6 seconds. Because God is just that good. I'm still saying, you know why I'm still saying? It's my birthright. I was born. It's my birthright. And it's my blood ball right. Okay, through love and grace. I'm worthy of love. I am. I'm worthy, period. I'm worthy of a life I love. Yes. When I wake up, I'm worthy of a life I love. It may not always be great, but I can always close my eyes and create a whole nother one. Okay. I'm be happy in what I have and be grateful and close my eyes and create another one. I'm worthy of a rounded, wealthy life. Let me tell you something. That's infinite wealth. Whether that is finances, infinite. ideas, infinite innovations. It's infinite because when God gives you something, God does not give you a sidebar, have you looking sideways. God does not give you anything that's going to hurt you unless you don't know how to use it. Because everything comes spiritually first. So if you don't know how to work it spiritually, you might want to go sit down somewhere and learn it. Okay. I ain't trying to tell you how to live your life. I'm just saying go somewhere and learn it first. I'm worthy of the dream that is in my heart. Let me tell you something. If it's in here, you best believe it's coming to pass because I have no means of stopping it no time soon. Me and God, we is going for it. I release the timelines are no longer for me. I don't have no out. I don't have no strife. I don't have no bitterness. I don't have no anger. I just release you. I send nothing but cleansing and purifying energy as you go on your way. I cut every cord. I really do. Because we don't agree no more. We only can walk if we agree. I release you. I release the timelines that require me to shrink. If I can't be myself, I'm going to give you short answers. I'm not going on about myself. I'm not rushing or placing pressure on myself. I'm just open for clear communication and wisdom on my next move in stillness. Stillness brings you to a place that you didn't know you needed until you get there. So much peace. I walk forward lighter, clearer, and deeply supported. I'm never alone. I have my ancestors, angels, and God. That is a threefold cord. That's not easily broken, okay? I'm secure in myself, knowing even if I'm walking by myself, I'm truly never alone. My ancestors come out the bushes like guerrilla warfare, and when they come out, I ain't no control of them because some of them is in the underworld. So when they come out, you get what you get, child. I ain't got nothing to do with that. The angels always bring me something amazing that causes my heart to light up. It never fails every day. And today they did some amazing things. I just said, what? What? I see you. I'm aware enough to pause, breathe, and sit still for the next move, or just know that I am loved in every way that love can show itself. Love has 101 million ways to show itself. Allow it to show who it is and just keep going. People go out of their way to do me good. Because of the favor of God on my life, rules, laws, regulations, and any red tape is removed from me. It is said, we don't even usually do this. They just can't even help it. I can't either, but if God, my intuition, and my ancestors say hands up, child, I will have to walk away and just look at you. I have miracles every day and uncommon blessings find me without me even searching for them. They fall upon me because I'm aligned. Let me tell you something. You start following how God say just do small things every day. Even if it's a mindset shift, just do those small things every day. And God will say, boop, 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 boop. So just start following on. You don't even know where it comes from. And half the time it just show up when you least expect. You telling your business. I don't consent in any energy control. I am grounded, safe, and fully in control of myself, untouchable, and fully sovereign in myself. All cords are removed from me. Cut, cut, snip, snip, burn, burn. And I sever every cord of connection. Why? Because we don't agree. You only can walk together if you agree. That's Amos. I'm worthy of my dreams and everything my heart desires. If it's a heart desire and it's a dream, you best believe it's coming to pass. I allow clear thinking to find me without fighting for it. Let me tell you, I don't have to compete with you. I don't have to fight with you. I don't do that because if it's mine, it's mine. Darling, it's mine. It's mine. Come on, Michael Jackson, Paul McCartney. I'm worthy of seeing all my dreams come true while seeing the dark light in darkness at any moment. If I can come up here and see it from a different perspective, let me tell you, my life gonna change in seconds. I saw this somewhere and I said, this man, all things come to me in perfect, mature timing for my highest outcome and for the good of all. Because if I win, you win. If you win, I win. Why? Because we're going to share what God allows us to share. Money comes back to me multiplied on every dollar that was spent. Double, triple, quadruple, 100-fold on every dime that was spent. Everything that was stolen and things that were taken I didn't even know. And everything that my ancestors didn't already claim. It is mine. I'm willing to open space for the things I truly want by being gentle with myself. I'm intentional with love for myself. Whew, I've been so good with myself, and I'm so grateful, God. I saw this on Google, and I said, thank you. Spirit, if it's in my highest good, I remove all energy that doesn't belong to me from my energy field. Because some stuff is in your energy field to keep you on track. And I send it back to the rightful owner, cleansed and purified. No matter where we met originally, universe, world, timeline, dimension, realm, a piece of space, dust, or rock, I sever the cord of connection. The lessons have been learned. I release you to find your own way. And I find mine too. Okay. I call all my energy fragments back to me now, just like Magneto. I am free, I am free, I am free. If any piece of me is out there in them streets, it's coming on back. I now release all traumas, energies, and patterns, and anything from my ancestors that hasn't cleared my vortex. With the that's in alignment with my highest good across all timelines, dimensions, and realms, and anything that my ancestors didn't bring in. I am free, I am free, I am free, I am free. You hear me? I'm free. Free falling. Tom Petty. I sit in peace when I trust the process and I do not rush the process. Can we wait when it's silent? Because that's when the prompt is in the room. That's the real word. I'm doing speaking engagements and podcasts that bring transformation. Signature topic: helping visionaries reconnect, reinvent, and rise with confidence. We're all visionaries with our own personal dreams, and just we forgot about them surviving life. We put it in the back seat. It's time to put it out the back seat, put it back in the passenger seat, start talking to it, and bring your dream back to life. It's time to dream again. Teaching individuals how to return to themselves, quiet the noise, live boldly on their own terms, and not listen to crowd think, guiding them through mindset shifts, emotional relief, and soul level understanding, helping all of us navigate reinvention and rebirth, setting boundaries, and rise into our own individual purpose with confidence. You see, confidence is a mystic substance to faith. Okay. Hi, my name is Renetta Chastity, owner and founder of Life Success Results LLC. Soul Igniter, Trauma Overcomer, Holistic Spiritual Strategist. I work with the whole being for my level of training and education, mind, spirit, soul, and body. I have a bachelor's and a master's degree in healthcare to understand and comprehend mental and public health, massage therapy, Reiki and sound healing, holistic practitioner, where we pull out all the impurities from the rooter to the tutor, human design practitioner, where we go back to the beginning and look at your purpose. And then we look at all that generational baggage and start pulling it out. When I was given this task of having uncomfortable conversations with others, I knew then that my path was going to be a little different. And probably people was going to be a little standoffish until they have done their own individual work. But I didn't stop. I asked myself uncomfortable questions every day to get out of old patterns. I do the work every day, and let me tell you something. It's not always easy and it's not always pretty. But I wake up to confront the areas in me in love that need a facelift so I can go forward. Because we're doing so much work on the outside, but are we looking on the inside? Because to be honest, the reason why you went in is because something doesn't feel right. But before you went in, did you talk to yourself? Did you reconnect yourself? I'm not beating you up. I'm just asking, did you reconnect yourself? What are you afraid of losing? Is it once you see that colonialism has played everybody out here in these streets? You won't know what to do if we're not fighting each other. How about we find ways to have conversations that cause a pause to see life differently in all areas? At the same time, understanding. If you did it once, you'll do it again. This will cause us to quit blaming someone else for our problems and see where we might truly have just missed it. We can only meet people where we have met ourselves. Remember that next time you say you want a real relationship, are you really asking for that? Or are you just saying that? We have many adults who were never taught how to feel safe. So they seek safety and validation outside of themselves because of a plethora of challenges that occurred in childhood processes. I'm being commissioned to aid in the process by sharing how I overcame everything meant to keep me from coming my true identity. I had to believe in myself and God. See, God is in me, in my heart. But I had to find me before I had to find God. What does that mean? That means I had to ask myself, who are you? What do you want? Why are you doing this? Are you doing this to do this? Or are you doing this for people to look at you? Because if you're doing this for people to look at you, what happens when the people don't look at you no more? Are you doing this for God? Or what are you doing? What is your motivator? Why are you doing this? I had to ask myself a lot of questions. Okay, we're taught that God is on the outside of us in some big sky, but He's actually on the inside of us in our heart, ready to be tagged in to the battles. Ephesians 6 says we're fighting principalities, rulers of the darkness, and spiritual wickedness in high places. Okay, we're not fighting people, we're fighting spirits because we're originally spirits. Remember that? This is when negative thinking has gone on so long that now it's the norm of society, or how the Bible would say, the multitude, how everybody thinks. This is why every ascended master, Jesus, Buddha, call them all out, fought against the mindsets of us who complain but don't want to do the work or don't know how to, and it causes a dip in morale that most can't get out because it's ancestral or generational. Or you doing the things that the gurus are telling you to do, but you're not doing the work on the inside. You're doing the breathing. But if you're just doing the breathing and you ain't going on and cutting that stuff out on the inside, what you doing? So to get out of it requires us to get uncomfortable, to get past a plateau of complacency. And this is how we've always done it. If you stay in that, you will never be free. It takes the opportunity to get uncomfortable and ask those very uncomfortable questions that cause you to come out of that zone you in. Okay. There are some freebies and a link for my podcast with the Women's Leveling Up. Recently done about a month ago. It done in May. And let's talk about that uncomfortable question before I go on. So the uncomfortable question is, why are we doing what we do? Why do you feel that way? And why do you think, even though you say this group is a minority, why are you constantly watching this particular group? Oh, let's talk about it. You're watching this particular group because you know that they are the blueprint. And that's why you're constantly watching. You're looking at all the podcasts, you're looking at all the TikToks, you're looking at everything, you're combing through everything, you're looking through everything because you're looking to see who the savior is. Well, what happens when you find out all of us are? What you gonna do with that? You've already tried to make our race extinct. And then we can talk about the Asians and the Latinos too, and the Spanish. And there's so many different groups. And we all get an opportunity to go on the inside and start doing the inside work. Because when you start doing the inside work, you know what happens? The atmosphere changes. And that means love lifts up to the top. Okay, love lifted me. Okay. So when we start lifting up the love, can't no, can't nothing dark stay on the planet. That's how this works. So you trying to do the stuff on the outside, that means you get a chance to go on the inside. Look in the description below to find the things that truly light you up and leave everything else behind. Don't forget about the 3 magazines that I was in, September, October, and December. I cannot wait to talk to you soon. Remember, I placed a link to my own personal bookstore. My books incorporate the essence of God. If you want to feel the presence of God, read In the Garden with the Father, Understanding True Intimacy. This is a one-on-one book with me and God having good old conversations. Honey, just having conversations. This page 59. Faith works by how you believe God loves you. So if you don't believe God loves you, you already at a deficit. That's how you get an opportunity to go inside and start working on yourself. You have what you say and believe. Be at peace. I've already worked it out. Stand firm. See how good God is. And then we also have 2 other books, Befriending the Shadow, Unshakable Peace, Unstoppable Change. Both of those books are my shadow activity books because they're bigger than shadow workbooks. So what you're going to get is a word of knowledge. Then you're going to get an exercise. So fun. Then you're going to get a shadow question. Not so fun. It's going to cause you to look at yourself. Okay. Then you're going to get a color page. The color page, God asked me to keep it between the age of 5 and 10 because most childhood wounding happens between the age of 5 and 10. Then by the age of 7, it is solidified in the system. By the age of 10, if no one helps you, it's there. By the age 21 to 25, it is now yours if no one has assisted you because now you are grown up. Okay. And then we have that last thing, 5 things in each book. You have 4 pages, 22 chapters per book. 4 pages to doodle, draw, write down your dreams, write down your visions, do all of that. I didn't see a book like that. God said make it. I said say less. Honey, God is so good that way. And then don't forget about my other 2 books that are already on the New York Times bestseller list. Influence and Impact with Chris Voss and Mindset Matters with Jack Canfield. All of those are on Amazon. I also have my own personal bookstore that has my special journals that I've been advertising. That's only on my own special bookstore. Okay, check it out. Because God don't care nothing about your background. However you started don't mean nothing to God. It's how you finish the race. Okay, slow and steady. Notebooks and journals for all. Coloring books that help in meditating and recalibrating the mind. I'm excited about this venture. Why? Because I'm in charge of my own intellectual property, even though I got a lot of stuff still on Amazon. Don't forget about the link to the 105 spiritual laws. Disclaimer, even though it's a book, even though it's the link to the 105 spiritual laws, remember, we're no longer underneath the laws, but under dispensation of love and grace. Don't forget to sign up for the newsletter for the juicy updates of the upcoming events. The Adjective PDF with the 400 values PDF and put it together to change your whole character for this janky promoter game. Okay. I was inducted into the new class of Who's Who for 2025 along with influential women. So check that out. And then I also received a Who's Who back in 2017. I completely forgot about. I did. I completely forgot about what the stuff I was doing with my nonprofit. I was bringing women and teenagers out of sex trafficking, right? And then I was also helping teenage girls who were coming out to say they were LGBTQA to their parents, and teenage girls that came out and said they was pregnant and their parents kicked them out. Well, I put them in teenage places, teenage homes, and made sure they had what they needed before they went in, okay? Because it's one thing to go in there, but it's another thing to go in there and you have what you need. So just in case they don't have those things, you're not trying to figure everything out. And then help domestic violence personnel as well. However, I was only able to help them so much because 2 of them went back, and I was only, that's why I was saying I was only able to help but so much because they went back and we lost 2. So there was so much I could do. It did hurt. I'm not going to sit there and say it didn't, because it did. Um, and then we also helped people that were burned out of their homes or were flooded out of their homes. People knew I had a nonprofit. So because they knew I had a nonprofit, I was giving them things to write off on their taxes. So they was giving me stuff to put in my storage things. I was getting curling irons, I was getting rollers, I was getting some of everything, and they was buying it new. So I was getting the things that you would need for your life on an everyday basis that you don't think about until you lose everything. Beds and flat screen TVs, and I was giving out little bags that so they would have toothpaste and toothbrush and stuff like that. And I was giving them little cards that would say it would be like a refillable card that you could go back to the store and put more money on it. I would just give them for $20 because they were getting help from the Red Cross and from different pantries. But I'm like, I don't know if they're gonna give you underwear and some socks, so I'm gonna just give you something, so a little prepaid card that you can refillable that you can use this for whatever you want to for the rest of your life. Okay, just simple things. And I'm just so grateful that God didn't forget the things that I was doing. Oh, and I was teaching young girls how to cook because some of them didn't know how to cook. And they was of age, like close to 17, 18. I said, oh, you can't be leaving out your mother's house. You don't know how to eat. You know how to cook, but you know how to eat. So teaching them how to cook simple things like spaghetti, making biscuits, simple things. You say biscuits ain't making simple. It's Just a skill you might want to have just in case bread ain't around, okay? And just simple stuff like that. And I'm just so glad that God says whatever you do in private, He rewards you in public. I'm I'm just grateful for that. I'm just grateful for that. You know what I mean? Because I completely forgot about it until I was unpacking boxes and looking at stuff. And I said, wait a minute, I don't forgot about this. See, God don't need fanfare. God sees everything. He sits high and looks low. God is faithful, and I'm grateful, and I'm thankful for everything. Don't forget to look at the link to receive 25% off your first order. This is the company I use along with all natural remedies for the assistance of the diagnosis I was given in 2017. They told me I had breast cancer and I had 6 months to live. I didn't take any cancer treatments. I ain't take none of that. Okay. Only thing I took was that 100% Silver Shield. And I had a naturopathic doctor, and I had that list of Dr. Sebi of things that were alkaline. Okay. So the doctors were like, then they were trying to beat me up and gang up on me to get the surgery. But they started gaslighting me. I said, you crazy? You think I'm going to do that? And you can't even tell me the truth? You need to get somewhere and sit down. So, yes, honey. So then I said, I bind up every disease, every germ, every bacteria, every growth, every tumor, every parasite, and I curse it to the root, and I loose most holy faith to bring it to pass. And I said, and look, and then I said, and I bind it now, and I send it back to the pit of hell to no longer return. And I loose the blood of Jesus. I loose the hand of God. And I said I take full responsibility for what I did because I did it. It was hand to mouth, hand to mouth. I can sue all these people, do whatever I want to do, but guess what? I did this hand to mouth. And so they, what you doing? I said, hey, I'm putting in my order, so when I come back with my testimony, you know what happened. Because see, whenever you want God to do something, you go find. See, your scriptures is your order. I already knew that I was a healed, protecting my health, so I pulled it out and started saying it. I went home, started talking to God, and God said, call the naturopathic doctor. I pulled down everything the doctor said and showed it to the naturopathic doctor. It was like, look, this is true. This is the alkaline list. However, your blood type can't handle this. So I'm going to take this off, this off, this off, this off. There are certain things certain blood types can't eat. Did you know certain blood types can't have ketchup, can't have Thousand Island, can't even have pickle juice? Those are simple things. But see, if you don't know your blood type, you could be out here putting yourself in the early grave, listening to somebody else. Oh, I tell you, this works, but do you know your blood type? That's something you really need to get to know. And look, with a naturopathic doctor, you don't have to pull blood. You can put your hand right there on that machine and tell you everything about you. Okay. That's what I'm telling you, tell you everything about you. Honey, let me tell you, I'm so grateful and thankful for God for this. And then my ancestors said, go outside, get that dandelion, get that morning glory. Do you know morning glory seed? If you smoke weed, I'm just sharing it with you. If you smoke weed, you can take that morning glory seed, dry it up, and smoke it like weed. And that's what some of the Native Americans, well, the black Native Americans was putting that in their peace pipes back in the day. Let you know they was really peaceful. That's quicker than weed. I'm just putting it out there, okay? And that crabgrass, I call it crabgrass, but it's the darkest piece of grass that's in your backyard. It look like a weed, and it's got them little things that just everywhere, and then it's got that long grass in the middle. Well, the long grass in the middle is wild scallions, it's wild onions. And if you dig it up, you'll see that it's wild onions. Well, our ancestors lived off that because they lived off the land. When they said they lived off the land, that means they was giving scraps to live off of, and they made it work. Okay. So they cut it, you clean it up, and you cut it up and put it in your food, and then you got poke salad. Poke salad look like lettuce and cilantro had a baby together. Okay. And it's serrated around the edges, and it's a different flavor. If you ever taste it, you know what I'm talking about. And honey, I put that on top of my spinach, underneath my jasmine rice, with my squash, my zucchini, my red onions, my red, orange, and yellow bell peppers. When I say, and then every once in a while, I would add like some wild salmon or tuna steak or some shrimp because my blood type requires me to eat some meat every now and then. So I went pescatarian. Okay, honey. And then every once in a while, my naturopathic doctor was like, okay, I'm going to need you to go get you some red meat. because your numbers ain't right. I'm gonna need you to go get some red meat for your white blood cells. I said, say less. So just for that, because I was doing, but that's why I said it's nice to have somebody on your team that paying attention to what's going on and putting your hand on that machine. Okay, that's keeping up with you. They ain't always talking about, I need blood, I need blood, I need blood. Some of these things you just need a machine that just scans your whole body. Okay, every blood vessel, every artery, everything. It tells you if you're at risk of a stroke. All of this. You see what I'm saying? That's why I mess with them. Father God, I thank you for this message. I thank you for your word. I thank you for loving me. I thank you for keeping me. I thank you for hugging me. I thank you even for them butt whoopings. Let me tell you why. For that butt whooping, you don't give me over to Romans 1. And Romans 1 is a reprobate mind. Don't nobody want that. That's when God put you in the field looking like Nebuchadnezzar. You sitting there eating that grass. You were his, and now you out there just, ooh, child, I've been there. Don't want nobody. Ain't got no shame saying I've been there. I've been there. Don't nobody want that. I'm listening. Do you hear me? You only need to go through that once and say, I'm over here listening. Ask Nebuchadnezzar. He said, I'm over here listening. He was out there looking like an animal. Looked like an oxen. His hair grew out long. Man, he couldn't see he couldn't see through his hair. It grew all his hair on the skin grew out long, and then his nails were like a bison. Child, he looked like a whole animal out there. When he came to himself, he said, "Okay, God, my bad," because he was messing around with stuff in the temple that ain't mean to be touched. He was holy, and he was over there messing with stuff. See, that's what happens. You messing with stuff you ain't got no business messing with, honey. And then they telling us that we disenfranchised and we the minority, and we know we're not because we God chosen people. Let me tell you something. They told us to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. And then came and took the boots and took the shoestrings. But then we went out there, got some bamboo and made some boots, made some shoestrings with iron. They said, how in the world they making it? Don't worry about that. You stay over there across your fence and we gonna do what we need to do. Okay, because you didn't get this to me. Honey, sometimes you're gonna have to get a system, everything back, and they gave you to work with God. Okay. Honey, let me tell you something. That we playing Space something Uno with the most ratings card, but we weighing that tail out. Do you hear me? They don't understand how we still standing. We come from a proud people. Our ancestors follow God, and we follow God too. Ridiculous, regardless of what people are saying about God. It is what it is. Nobody would be fighting something so hard unless it was the truth. That's all I'm gonna say right there. I thank you for being here because you could have been anywhere in the world, but you decided to be here with me, and I'm so thankful for it. I send nothing but cleansing and purified energy to you. And are you full of God? Because that's the place to be at this moment, okay? I send nothing but cleansing and purifying energy as you go on your journey, and I pray that you love yourself so much that you will walk away from the things that are no longer for you, okay? I love you in the love of the Lord. Good night.